All right, so we got a new release window and a bunch of new information and screenshots regarding Sinking City 2. So we're just going to sit down and talk about it for a bit. So as it says, we're moving the release into early 2026 to deliver the game it deserves. See what we've been crafting in the meantime. Citizens of Arkham, today we want to share an important update about the development and where the development stands and where it's heading next. And FYI, Sinking City 2 is obviously a sequel to the first game, which came out and it came out a couple years ago, and there was some conflicts and all that, but they recently got full rights to the game, which is deserved. I've so far I've loved Sinking City 1, and I've loved their Sherlock Holmes games, which for those of you who don't know, they are very prominent with making Sherlock Holmes investigative style games. That's what they usually make. So this is a kind of branch off into a different direction. So, as it says, as many of you know, we've been aiming to launch the Sinking City 2 in 2025, and after extensive internal discussions, we've made the decision to move the release into the first half of 2026. And now this game has been delayed some bit. It's been deserved. I'm not mad at them for delaying it because I'd rather them finish the product than release a buggy Ubisoft style mess or Bethesda style mess, which is even worse. And of course, as it says, developing a game during an ongoing war continues to bring challenges that are difficult to predict. FYI, they're a Ukrainian based company, so that's what they mean. They are Ukrainian based, so they are heavily involved with that conflict. And the whole shit, I'm not going to talk about that stuff. It's too convoluted and too um, not worth my time right now. Um, but yeah, so they're talking about obviously the realities of the war and how it's slowing the pace of development of the game. And as you can read right here, it's obviously talking about like the drone strikes and missile strikes and power outages and stuff like that. Just that mean inconsistency and unreliable conditions. So they're still trying to release the game because they believe in this project and they've been working on it for years. And as they say, the extra time is also helping us refine our first ever survival horror experience, transitioning from decades of investigative adventure design to a genre built on tension, pacing, combat, and atmosphere has been both exciting and demanding. Every system, every sound, and every shadow matters, and we want to make sure that each of them feels right when you finally step into Arkham again. And for the record, yes, like I said, they were heavily into investigative stuff with the Sherlock Holmes games and the first Sinking City, where like you find clues and you take testimonies and you find evidence and you put that together to um, solve an investigation. Pretty much is what they do, and I love that core. I love that core mechanic of the game, but they're now kind of branching away from that genre and delving into the survival horror, which I'm excited for because that works perfectly with Lovecraftian mythos. And of course, there's dozens of screenshots, or there's 13 new screenshots, so we're just gonna check them out. And as you can see, there's a boat, which, as I've said, the one of the core mechanics of the first game is there are some streets and some entire streets that are flooded. You can't walk across them, so you need to take a boat. This is continuing in this game, so of course we have a boat and all that. So I'm excited. I wonder if you can customize it. That is something I was wondering, is if it is customizable. And so we have another atmospheric picture of the protagonist, of course, obviously. And I like the atmosphere. Like I've said, I think this is cool. I think this is awesome. I think the shadow kind of holding the two bowls with the birds on them. I think it's a very ominous and eerie statue. And I think the fog and the lighting just adds to the atmosphere. And of course, we have looks like what is a murder scene where a deranged woman is wearing a mask on the ground, had just murdered someone, or is either weeping someone. I don't know. There's a lot of questions asked, questions to be asked with this image. I think it's kind of fits the setting, so I'm not complaining. I think this is a cool photo, which is that's a creature from the first game, I believe. I don't remember the name of it, but it's a very strong creature that requires a lot of ammo and a lot of weaponry, grenades, Molotovs, stuff like that to take it down. It's not easy to take down. It's one of the harder enemies that I've faced in that game, in the first Sinking City. And here we have the main character holding a shotgun or a bolt action rifle, not shotgun, in front of the Arkham Fish Market. And it looks like he's going to go in. Which, yes, you get weapons in this game. It's a survival horror, but you get weapons. And as you can see right here, that's a Tommy gun. I love the name Tommy gun. It's iconic. It's a Tommy gun right there, and you can tell by the how the stock is right below the base of the gun. But yeah, you can tell. And if I'm wrong, well then I'm wrong. But yeah, so here we have a first look at an Innsmouther, which is a fish-like person from Shadow of Innsmouth, which is a H.P. Lovecraft story about a cult and all that, and it's very, very interesting. And of course, we've seen some images about Sinking City, and I'm excited. I think this design looks great. It captures the deformation of the Innsmouthers, and they don't look attractive. They don't look appealing. They look hideous, and all that. But it's also interesting that they're meant to look terrifying, and I quite enjoy it. And here we have, it looks like a zombie or an undead sailor of some kind. I think that's interesting. Adding more enemies is very interesting, and I'm not complaining. And then here we have a creeping thing that is crawling on the ground, and of course you have a shotgun aiming at it. So I don't know what it is. I'm assuming we'll get more information on it when it releases and all that. And then we have, this is one of my favorite images I've seen of this so far. It's just kind of atmospheric. You see a creature, an enemy, of course, in the background, in the hallway, lit up by the one working light in the hall. And you see your character staring at it, and there's a flooded hallway, and it's just atmospheric, eerie, and perfect for the game. And here we have a bunch of Eldritch stuff, which so far is one of the most exciting parts about this game. I can't wait. But we're getting to what I actually want to talk about and break down, which is regarding a lot of stuff of the mechanics, the core mechanics of the game, which, as you can see here, is a pylon of some kind, which is glowing with a bunch of Eldritch runes and a bunch of like blue lightning with fog around it. Very interesting. And right here, so this is what really reminds me of Resident Evil. Is you see the red rooms and the blue rooms, which blue rooms I'm assuming are places you have it completely explored. There's nothing left to explore in there in those rooms. Doesn't mean there are places you can travel to and all that. But as you see, like you see locker room, examination room, operating room, waiting area, reception, pharmacy, anatomical theater, exit. And so find a way into the anatomical theater is the goal to get here, we're here. So this looks like, I don't know exactly what building this is. I'm assuming it's an asylum of some kind. But of course, it looks like there's a rune here, like a weird occult rune. Looks like a creature here. There's I think there's some evidence you can gather here. People you can talk to, a place you can either loot or store stuff in. I'm assuming you need a mask or some identity to enter here, or I don't know. And of course, there's upstairs, there's downstairs, and so there's a lot of information regarding this area. And of course, we have investigation, where you put like your clues and your evidence and all that. You gather that, you put that together, and you solve investigations. And there's a codex where all the information is, the notes, pictures, creatures, people you meet, all that stuff. And then of course map, what we're looking at, the inventory, which is where your inventory is, which is self-explanatory, and same with crafting, that's self-explanatory, and a talent system, which is, I'm assuming it's going to be a lot like the skill tree system of the first game, which there's, I believe, combat, there's investigation, and there's psychological, which you can prove all those, and very interesting, very cool. Um, and so here we have an image of an investigation. This is what you do. You kind of piece together evidence and clues and testimonies to kind of solve investigations, and it's very, very cool. It's unique to the. It's relatively unique to the um, Sherlock Holmes games and the games these guys make. But overall, I'm excited. All this stuff has left me pretty excited for the game. So yeah, so far I like it, but I'm not gonna break down the Unreal Engine 5 interview. I think that's probably best left for another time. But it says, check out the submerged streets of Arkham, tense and ominous interiors, glimpses of the eldritch monsters that stalk the dark, moments of puzzle solving, and a close look at our protagonist's face as he confronts the horrors ahead. And genuinely, I think this is cool. I'm pretty excited for this game. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Sinking City 1, so overall, I think this is cool. I've been keeping an eye on this game since they announced it, which I remember when they announced it, it threw me for a loop, and I've been keeping an eye on this game so much. I can't wait to see what they're cooking up. And so, yeah, so let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Like and subscribe and share on your preferred social media platform. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out and God bless, my friends.